Without any further ado, let's get into the airplane. Alright, so welcome on board. We are here on the runway, ready to start heading out. I am going to get this VFR map out of the way. We won't be using that for much, but we're gonna be using this mostly. It will show us the legs, the lengths of the legs, headings and timings, and a little text, a little description of the route that we are going to be flying. So for this leg, we are first going towards Independence. As you take flight from Manzanar, pick back up with route 395, heading north. The highway will lead you towards another small town, Independence. So 3 minutes 6 seconds, heading 313. So highway headed north, and then we'll continue on with the rest once we get there. I'm gonna release the parking brakes and stand on my toe brakes a bit, give it a little bit of power to see if we have an engine that's actually working. Okay, let's release these brakes. Back pressure for stick here. Slide lower the nose, get off the stale wheel, get full power in. It's a bit twitchy today. And let's get it airborne. Alright. It's a better view. We are airborne. We want to start heading north. So we will take a look what we are doing now. We are heading kind of north, so we have to look for the highway. There is that. Highway off to our left there, as I remember from last time. And that's gonna be route 395 north. Let's start our timer because we are airborne now. About 3 minutes later, we will be at the town of Independence. Except for following the highway, there isn't really anything that we can do in terms of looking outside. So we will keep the highway off our left wing at all times. Ideally, we'd like to be above it, but the visibility in this airplane is pretty bad. Let's level off here at 5,000 feet MSL and reduce that throttle to about a climb power setting, a cruise power setting. I think that's pretty good. Let's get it nicely in trim, and then we can keep a close eye on this highway. We can track it outbound. See, we're about a minute in. In about 2 minutes we should see this town of Independence underneath us, so we can start looking for it ahead of us. After the town of Independence, let's see, use the road as your guide and continue north. Find telltale lava flows and cinder cones of the Big Pine volcanic field to the west. Then a bit further on, situated on the east of the highway, the Tinamaha Reservoir. Okay, so we are looking for... Is that the town of Independence already? That's impossible. If so, we would be really fast. Oh, that was an accident. Still kinda getting used to these controls. Alright, so let me elaborate on who I am a bit. So, this channel is called 24 Flying, and I am a student pilot. Currently doing my ATPL training to become a commercial airline pilot. However, due to the current situation, everything has slowed down a little, so I am using my spare time to mainly have some fun in flight simulators like X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator as of recently. And I usually like to do more procedural stuff in X-Plane. However, I did start this series doing some cross-country, and I want to continue on because it was a lot of fun as well. 2.5 minutes in, this could be the town of Independence. We'll see. Doesn't really give any indications to what it would be if it's not this. But let's assume, because I don't see... yeah, it could as well be that, but I doubt that a big town like this would be unnoticed. Or it's not a big town, it's a small town, but it's bigger than what's in front of us. Anyway, we have to follow the highway north anyway. Yeah, this makes pretty much perfect timing. Okay, let's reset our timer. Start it again, close out this leg. We are doing part 2 of this trip. Use the road as your guide, continuing north. Find telltale lava flows and cinder cones of the Big Pine volcanic field to the west. So to our west, should see lava flows, cinder cones. Alright, we're looking for some stuff there. And then a bit further on the highway should be a reservoir. So we're looking for that as well. In the previous part, which I also streamed live here on the channel, I did fly the initial legs, which were from Bakersfield, California, through the Sierra Nevada mountains, following the Kern Canyon, I think, if I'm not mistaken, all the way over to the airport that we just took off from, in 3 legs, I think that was. And the goal is to eventually end up in the Yosemite National Park, I think. So we still have quite a bit of a trip ahead of us. I just looked it up. It's 25 legs in total. Some are a bit longer than others. This one that we're doing now is a little bit longer than the others. Like the first leg we did last time, that was also a little bit longer than the other legs that we did. So I don't know how long this is going to take. Probably another couple of parts. However, I think I'll break these episodes up with a bit of IFR content in X-Plane as well, if I can manage that. Maybe a little bit of online flying on VATSIM, because that's good practice for me to do some radio communications in real life. Talking about radio comms, the bush trip mode here in Microsoft Flight Simulator does not have radio frequencies or radio communications simulated. You can set the frequencies, but you can't make any calls. That was what I was trying to say. So in that part, this is not really the most realistic, but it's not that important for what we are trying to achieve here. Also, we're not going to be flying standard VFR altitude. Actually, in this case, I am not sure why I wouldn't. I didn't last time because I was flying through the big mountains, but here it makes sense to climb up to 5,500. Let's do that, and then we are at least doing the procedural thing. So in about 6 minutes there, we should be at that reservoir. Might be a little bit more if we are slowing down to climb now, but it's only a very short climb, so that won't affect us that much. Alright, 6,500 here. Reset that power to a cruise and get this airplane trimmed out. Highway is off to our left, and let's get a little bit closer in because we have drifted off to the right ever so slightly. Of course, it's difficult to be flying offset all the time. Usually you pick your point and you only start flying offset once you get to when you get closer, but I really can't see much out this window out of the front, so we are intercepting the highway here, just down there. Alright, looking for that reservoir. I think that might be the reservoir that we are aiming for. If so, that's the Tinnemaha Reservoir. Then we should go read up on what the next leg is going to offer us. Big Pine. A short distance northwest, you'll pass the craggy rise of Crater Mountain as you make your way toward Big Pine, the Big Pine proper, a town that still bears the geological scars of the massive 1872 earthquake. Interesting. Let's correct back for that course. The highway seems to have turned a little bit, so we are going to do that too. We also climbed a little bit in that short period of time there, so I wasn't really in trim. Anyway, so northwest is what we will be going once we... We're still following the river by the highway by that point. We just took off here, heading towards Reservoir. There, Reservoir, northwest. Bravo India Hotel. Madame Oscar 56. Let's see where that is. Bravo India Hotel. That sounds very familiar. Oh, there it is. There's the airport that we're landing at. That sounds very familiar. Huh. Just keep an eye on that reservoir here. That's what we're going to first. Alright. Anyways, might as well look that up. Bravo India Hotel VOR. Bishop. Huh. Not what I thought. Alright, never mind. I thought it was one that I knew already. Alright, I have some stuff to talk about. So, recent times I have been uploading quite regular content. Because training due to the current situation has been really non-existent. However, we did just start restarting our trading, so it's going to be it's gonna cause me to have a strong reduction in the amount of content that I can produce. However, it also might give me some fresh energy to find some stuff to do on here and to actually get some more high quality content, because currently I'm mostly just live streaming my flying, and that takes a lot of time to be doing during the flying part, but after the fact I don't really have to edit much because yeah, doesn't really matter that much to me. However, I'm not sure, I might be able to change that up a bit to get some more content going that requires some more attention, but just a lot less of it then. Let me know if you would be interested in some of that. Also, I've been really enjoying driving American Truck Simulator recently. Let me know if you want to see some of that as well. We don't want to fly directly towards the lake though, we want to be tracking the highway inbound. So let's make that small correction. We did climb an awful lot there. Huh. But it doesn't really matter, I'm not that focused here. You're flying VFR as long as you don't hit anyone. It doesn't really matter. When you're flying instrument rules, you have to be looking down there all the time. And you can't afford to be distracted by looking outside. You're a little fast now as well. It's not really going that great. And in 1 minute... Excuse me. Alright, in 1 minute we should be at the reservoir that they're talking about. I had a little itch in my throat. Luckily I do have some water with me here today. Alright. So, northwest is going to be that way. Down there. Craggy rise of Crater Mountain. Crater Mountain, do you think that's the Crater Mountain? I don't know what they talk about when they say craggy rise. I'll make your way towards Big Pine proper, a town that still bears the geological scars of the earthquake. I'm not sure what we would be expecting if they say scars of the earthquake. Let's see. That's the reservoir. I already closed it out, apparently, but it doesn't matter. We do have the reservoir in sight. And let's call it that we are overhead. And then we're gonna start our timer. Let's take a quick peek where the road is going next. It's this line that's still going to continue on straight, so we can just keep tracking it outbound. Let's see. Huh. Alright. Big Pine. Northwest, craggy rise of a crater, and we're watching for 4 minutes 33 seconds. Huh. 4 minutes 33 seconds. If you know what that stands for, let me know in the comments below. And I'm talking like musically, in a musical sense that has some sort of meaning. So if you do know, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you if I think you're correct or not. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, you might want to look it up, or if you're not interested in music at all, it doesn't matter. Just leave it as it is. Anyway, we are going to be following the highway out northwest bound. Ooh, what is going on? Why did it reset my view back there? That was a strange thing. Let's see. The rise of Crater Mountain. Crater Mountain. It's maybe on my right. Could be on my right as well. You see the strange shape there. It's not really a mountain. Could be this. A big mountain over there. Yeah, it's also a rather big mountain. Everything is large. See, we're 2 minutes in. There should... Oh, that's probably the town that they're talking about. And it has a scar. Due to the earthquakes. I'm curious to see what they are talking about. I don't see anything from here. It might be that the river is very displaced here. But the earth shifted a little. But I'm not sure, to be honest. See what our airplane looks like from the outside. Pretty neat, right? We're a little bit low. Alright, 3 minutes 20 seconds in of our 4 minutes 33 second leg. It's doing it again. Strange views that keep changing even though I'm not pressing anything. How bizarre. Alright. Down here, let's look. Can we see any geological scarring down here. Not really, to be honest. What I'm doing now, this maneuver, is called side flipping. So I'm pressing right rudder and I'm using left aileron and a bit more power to maintain level flight whilst having a... Oh, what is that? That must be something wrong. I don't think that's what they meant when they talked about the scars, the geological scars. That doesn't really look anything real. Okay, we are overheaded down. Let's reset our clock. Go start again. Next, Bishop. Keep following Highway 395, and it will guide you to the past the glistering waters of Klondike Lake to the town of Bishop, California, aka the mule capital of the world. So we're following the highway, and it will take us to Klondike Lake. Let's see, so we passed this lake. That might be that. There's Bishop, which has airspace built around it, which means that we would normally be required to make a radio call, but we are not going to do that because we don't have any radio calling capability currently in this mode. I did climb a bit because I didn't reset the power soon enough, so let's bring it back to 5,500 feet to be nicely on our VFR level. You think this is the lake that they're talking about? Glistening waters of Klondike Lake. It's not really big. It's a small lake. I don't really know what else it could be. Didn't see anything on the map before. Huh. Highway is still in front of us. Lake just behind us. Bishop, the town of Bishop. Too bad we don't have a radio navigation system on board, because we would be able to tune the VOR in Bishop otherwise. It would be a bit cheating considering they want us to be flying visually, but it would be nice to show you how it's done. In that case we would have a needle pointing straight towards it. We wouldn't have to follow the road. We would get there very quickly. And we would also be able to track our radial outbound to our airport that we're going to, instead of having to go through all of these waypoints. Anyway, past Bishop is going to be Calfant Valley or Chalfant Valley. I don't know what they like to pronounce it as. But as it passes through Bishop, Highway 395 splits off towards the west, but you'll want to keep your heading and pick up US Route 6. Outside the city limits, Route 6 will briefly bend east, only to then return north again, aiming you at the town of Calfant at the foot of the White Mountain Wilderness area. Cool. Alright. Highway is still straight ahead of us. It's making a bend there. And we're looking for the town of Bishop, called the mule capital of the world. I don't know why you would want to be called the mule capital of the world ever, but well, guess if they're proud of it. Alright, let's see what we are looking at now. One thing that you might notice is our cylinder head temperature here is very low, and one way to increase it would be to lean the mixture. However, I checked, none of these are a mixture lever, so I can't really decide what the mixture is going to be, and I can't really... Do we have any fuel left? Doesn't look like we have much fuel left. However, I really can't fill it up on the ground either. Anyway, so mixture is going to be impossible to control. I tried doing this, changing this choke lever, but obviously doesn't work here anyway, and there's really no way to change this up to get it into the green arc, because it would be lovely to have something in the green arc at all times. Like our airspeed, it should be, and we're a little fast now, but I'm getting that 100 feet of altitude back, so no issues there. Alright, we are still nicely tracking this road inbound. Little cars driving about. I think just for the fun of it, we are going to go fly very low. There we can nicely see that road and see the town that it goes to. Let's cut all the power and let the airplane descend without accelerating. Straight towards this highway. We don't see any traffic, no helicopters, no power lines. So let's do this. Alright, we descended 1,000 feet. And we are rather low to the ground now. But let's enjoy it. Because it's a sim, we can. Oh, why is my timer not started? Did I not start my timer before we left? I can start it now, but it's not gonna work. It's not gonna help me. If not, I would have known that we would be having to fly for 8 minutes. Now I have no idea how long I've been flying. It's a big mistake. However, we're nicely low, so we'll see the town of Bishop once it gets there. I think we are almost there anyway. And then once we get there, because you don't want to be flying low over any populated areas, don't want to be flying this low in real life at all, because if your engine dies, you don't have any choice where you're gonna put it down. It's gonna be on the road with a lot of cars instead of picking a nice soft field. Let's follow this road around the bend. Can see some buildings ahead of us. Probably the town of Bishop, California. Is there some wind here? Are we being blown about? A little bit, I have the impression. Alright. Town of Bishop coming right up. Then it's gonna be this Calvin Valley thing for 6.5 minutes. 6 minutes 37 seconds. Yep. Route 6, we want to keep heading north. On full power, climb it up nice and quickly. up to 5500 if possible. It's a rather steep climb. Normally you don't climb this steeply, but it's all fine to me today. Right, that's the level of fear we want to be looking at this road. There it is. The big highway turns westbound, as it says. We want to go northbound. We want to follow the highway route 6. Okay, let's reset the clock this time and actually start timer. Alright. It will briefly bend east, which is what's going to happen there. See that intersection where the big highway turns off? And let's see. Gonna follow it eastbound, then turn north, aiming you at the town of Calvin. Alright, that's cool. We are following that highway eastbound. The following highways part is rather boring in my opinion. I liked it more when it was fly through this, look for that, do this canyon thing. But now it's just roads, which is pretty realistic to be honest. Talking about pretty realistic, that is definitely not realistic at all. And there you have the Bishop Airport, in whose airspace you would definitely be right now. That thing, I don't know what the hell that is. Anyway, I was talking about how I don't like following the roads, but that it's actually pretty common that roads are big markers that you follow. But when I did my VFR flying, it was a bit different. You would pick visual reference points, like say the intersection of this road with that railroad, or the point where that town is, or that water tower, or whatever, and then you would fly from point to point, crossing bare desert and not tracking a road inbound. But I think that might have been a bit more difficult than most people who are just casually flying this thing tend to be able to do. I'm not sure, because you do have to look pretty closely and find your points from far away if you do stuff like that. Whilst following a road like this, you just follow it. You look where you're supposed to go, so there should be a town coming up right there. We are 2 minutes 50 seconds in of our 6 minutes 37 seconds run. And let's go full power. Now we can climb up to 5500. So we are going straight line again without having to worry to miss something below us, I think. So there should be a town at the foot of the White Mountain Wilderness area. Next, past Calvin, tracts of farmland await, along with an isolated oblong body of water to the east. So, alright, we did just do this part, made that crossing. You can see a part of water here. That might be this, yeah, it's probably that. Alright, we did pass through that altitude a bit. Let's get back down there. Let's take a quick look. I think that is going to be it. Might be a little fast now, but it's still pretty clear air, so I'm not worried about massive turbulence. Alright. There's that thing of water ahead of us. I'm pretty sure that that is exactly what we are going to be aiming for in a second. Ah, but it can be because that is what we have as our next point. Huh? Is there a town that we missed? The town of Calfand. Is it this? Most likely. Or that. And that's not water. Alright, that's gonna be the town with the wilderness area. And then the water is next. It's not even close. Still more than 7 minutes away. Starts to make a little bit more sense. It's a funny thing that we have been flying below the average terrain at all times. Like if I would have to plan this route myself on a chart, my minimum safe altitude, or MSA, would be very high. I'm not sure if we would be able to achieve our minimum safe altitude if we were to inadvertently fly into a cloud. So the rule is, you take the highest obstacle within 10 miles of your route, I think it was. It's been some time. I'm not 100% sure on the details. And you add 1,300 feet to that altitude. So you want to be 1,000 feet above the highest obstacle. And theoretically, the highest obstacle could be a tower 299 feet on top of the mountain, and it doesn't have to be on your chart. So you do that, you add 1,000, and that's your minimum safe altitude. And then in case you fly in a cloud, that's the altitude you have to climb to, and then you can be sure that you're not gonna hit something. But with these big mountains to either side, which are clearly within 10 nautical miles on this side, you would have a very high minimum safe, which would be very difficult to climb too quickly in case of an emergency. Alright, I think we are almost at the waypoint here, the town. Yep, there it is. Some cars going there. Which means that we are going to reset our timer. Start again. Next is gonna be that oblong body of water to the east. Alright, we just follow the road again. We've been following the same road for quite some time, if you include the section where it wasn't Route 6 yet. Actually, it's been in the last episode as well. Ever since we got out of the Sierra Nevadas, we've been following this same road for the entire time. But we do get to see some pretty sights along the way, and the goal of getting to the Yosemite National Park is worth all of this pretty straightforward, straight and level flying you have to do all the time. Tracts of farmland, I think that's pretty much farmland down there, and an isolated body of water to the east. To the east it's gonna be that side, might be this. I am not sure. Then carry on up the road as rolling hills rise to the west. So on that side we're gonna have some hills. And the town of Benton comes into view ahead. You'll know you've arrived when you reach the main crossroads and see the town's scattered collection of trees amid the desert. Alright, should be pretty easy to spot. And then we have the airfield behind that, after that. So outside of Benton, Route 6 bends northeast, pointing you directly towards the desert peak of Mount Montgomery and the borderline between California and Nevada. Once you've crossed over, look for the remains of an old ranch on the west side of the road. Locals called the dirt runway beside it Madame Airport, and it's the next stop on your tour of the High Sierra. Alright. Madame Airport. Or Madam. Mom Airport. Farmlands ahead. Water to the east of the road. Exactly what we are expecting. And not really much else that is happening. Hi there, Julie. Yeah, I don't forget to trim. No, it's very important that you trim. And as you can see, I have not been doing a really good job because now I've let go of the controls. It's actually maintaining pretty okay. Now we're even descending a bit, but as you can see, I am 200 feet above my planned altitude. I want to be at 5,500 and not at 5,700. So yeah, I should probably correct for that and reduce some power to descend and not overspeed. Thank you for reminding me, Julie. Alright. There's some farms down there. Imagine living there. It's a really big, long drive. That's what I was trying to say. It's a rather long drive to get to a grocery store, I think. If you run out of vegetables or you want some fries, no, it's not as easy. That's why they might grow it themselves in these big farms. Anyway, it's that water what's coming up there. Nope, it's more farmland. There is some water there. We're also only 4 minutes in to a leg, which should be 7 minutes. So it's but the water should be to the east of the road. So is that going to happen, or is this road going to be on the wrong side? Or is it this? That might be the water that they're talking about. I think it might be that. Alright. What do you think, guys? Is it going to be the water on the left or the one on the right? It says, past the Calfan tracts of farmland await, along with an isolated oblong body of water to the east. So we're facing north, kind of. North is going to be something like that. So to the east, I'm thinking it's going to be this one. Yeah, you're right, it's gonna be this one, obviously, because the east side is on that side of the airplane, and we can clearly see now that this is some water. Alright. Good, good. It's nice that we know what we are looking for. Once we get past there, we are gonna go on the leg down to Benton. So that's the Falls Creek Ranch Lake. You have a lot of ranches down here. California ranch life. Must be really interesting to live here. Although I would get a little scared of all that wildfire stuff going on. But I'm guessing it being desert, there isn't much stuff out here to burn, so they should be pretty okay, I guess. The guys with forests near them should be more worried. It's very unfortunate that these wildfires keep coming back and coming back so strong. Yeah, there is the lake that we are looking for, called the Falls Creek Ranch Lake. Yeah. What would they do with a lake like this? It's a pretty odd shape. Do you think they go jet skiing on stuff like that? Or is it just purely for irrigation purposes? I don't believe that they never have any fun on there, the people who own the lake. Because it's very man-made, so it's probably owned by someone. I hope for them that they have a good time on their jet skis or their boats. I would. Currently, where I live, the lake would have been frozen if we had something like that, and you could go ice skating. But it's starting to thaw again, and we're gonna, you know, when you have snow, it's very pretty, it's very nice, and I really like snow, just up to the point where it starts to become slush, like when it starts to rain and it starts to melt, and you get this brown thing that's still very cold and wet, but it's not like snow anymore. You can't make any snowmen out of it, or you can't have a snow fight with bad snow. Yeah. I think it's almost gonna be something like that pretty soon here. And then everything becomes a big mess and you have to clean your car every 3 days because it's get very salty and it's bad for your car. So we ended up there. I'm gonna quit talking a bit and restart. So carrying up the road, hills rise to the west, that's what we can see. And the town of Benton comes into view ahead. Main crossroad is some trees scattered amid the desert. Alright, let's... Well, I'm not gonna maintain my altitude anymore, I'm gonna climb a little bit because we have these mountains on our left. I don't want to be flying too low, too close to them. Let's make it maybe 6,500 and then we can do a rapid descent into the airport once we get there. Alright, talking about snow again, because I got cut short. I always time these conversations at the worst possible time apparently. But I did have a lot of fun with the snow. It stayed here for a little while and we did have some snow fights and yeah, it had been a while since the last time that we had so much snow and it had stayed here for so long. And I don't think we will be having it for another long while before we actually get snow like this again. Okay, we climbed 1,000 feet. Let's level it off here again. Maybe we can start looking for that town of Benton. Might not be Benton, correction. Might not be a bad idea. Benson is something else. I think that's in Arizona. There's some houses there, but doesn't look big enough to have an airport. Let's check out our chart. It's the stuff. We're gonna make that turn. And then we should see the airport because that's right there. So the town, we were definitely not in trim and wasn't paying attention. So we climbed a bit. Let's descend again. Town is gonna be down there. If we have to believe our chart, we're gonna turn through. Or is this the town and is the airport there? Because it bends northeast. Mount Montgomery and stuff, yeah. And we can see it's a dirt strip next to the road. So it might be worth doing a low pass and inspecting the field before we land. And we're probably coming in from this side. So that's actually great. Yeah. Main crossroads, see the town, scattered collection of trees amid the desert. Scattered collection of trees amid the desert. Do you guys think what I think? And if you're thinking might be hard to spot all these trees from so high, then you're right. So I am going to descend through, fly low over this highway until we reach the down, and then we can see this is definitely Benton. Let's descend another 1,000 feet again. So we are farther away from these mountains than I thought. So that last climb was a little bit useless. However, I don't mind. It's something to do on a long straight leg like this. Gave us a good overview of the situation, but we don't want to be missing out on seeing this town. So now as we get lower, you see that I have to deviate my course more to the right in order to still have the town of Benton in view. There's a small town here, so a scattered collection of trees inside the arid desert. See if we can see some scattered collection of trees inside the arid desert. Yeah, you can see some trees. This is probably gonna be it. Let's check our timing. So we're 4 minutes 40 seconds in. That does make sense. It's about right in terms of timing. We did climb a little bit as well, so we have covered a little bit more ground during that part of our leg. Say this is the center and reset our timer. So this is up. Next, Madame Airstrip. So, yeah, funny name. Let's see, bends northeast. That's actually what we see here. Bending northeast, pointing you directly towards the desert peak of Mount Montgomery. Does it? I don't know. I don't see. We're not there yet. Then let's maintain level here. We don't want to climb too high. We're gonna land pretty soon. And there's gonna be a runway next to the road. And if we look at the picture, you're following the road like this, the runway is gonna be off to the left. If the picture is taken north up at least. It's like a way station down there. Yeah, I've been getting into some American Truck Simulator lately, so that's why I know that stuff. I'm definitely not a trucker, nor am I a trucking expert at all. I'm not an aviation expert either. I'm not trying to be, and I'm not trying to teach you anything in particular. Because I'm not an instructor, and any simulator stuff can never replace real flight instruction, of course. Even any simulator training that I do, or any practice, it's not really simulator training what I do here, any practice inside a computer simulator is not considered it is not really that useful sometimes. It is useful if you want to do procedural stuff like I'm doing on X-Plane, but this does not replace actually flying an airplane. Never fly an airplane solely based on what you do in a sim. It does help in some ways, like gives you an idea what to look for in instruments and in looks, and this one especially with VFR checkpoints, it does help to see what you'll be looking for in real life as well. So there are some valid good things about flying a sim like this, but yeah, I'm not an expert, and neither is this game. So if you really want to know what you're doing, find you a good instructor and they will teach you. Alright, see how long they would be out. It would be 4 minutes 45 seconds, and we have already done 3 minutes of those. We should be able to start looking for that runway. Dirt runway parallel to the highway with a river pretty close to it. Curious, when do you think we will see the airport? Get down very low that we never have any chance of missing it. There is some stuff down here, but it doesn't look to be anything in a runway direction yet. And I also don't want to completely ignore the other side of the road because it might be there. I might be misreading this. Borderline between California and Nevada. Did we cross the border already? I'm not sure. Is it this? Is that the border? Looks a bit bordery. If that is, then we are already in Nevada. I'm not sure. Mount Montgomery. Gonna be in the distance. Old ranch. This does look like an old ranch. Huh. Curious. And we're supposed to be here. Is this the airport? Don't see something that looks like a runway though. Is this... Oh, we're very slow. Alright, let's get back into the cockpit. I don't want to be... It's not easy to be flying from the outside view. Is this the airport? No. This can't be the airport. It doesn't look anything like it. Is it that? Aha! Alright. It's not this ranch. It's that ranch. And that is definitely it. We can close this out because we are here. Let's trim for a proper speed. I don't know why I was completely untrimmed here. And let's do a low pass here. Let's maybe slow it down a bit. Now you can get some flaps in. But not full flaps, because I don't want it to slow down too much. Right, let's get the nose a bit up to get flaps in. Flaps 1. Alright, then we can lower the nose again. Something my instructor taught me actually. It's sometimes better to raise the nose a bit, slow down quicker, get flaps in, and then you can descend and slow down at the same time, because you have more drag. Alright. Low pass of the runway, then left traffic outbound. We would make a call like Madam Airport, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna pretend. In this case, I think this is the dirt runway. It's pretty small, but you have this hangar thingy. Actually looked pretty clean, so that's full power. Raise that nose. Flaps up. Start at left crosswind. And you don't want to climb too much. Continue on the left downwind, and let's level off here abouts. And right back on the power because we don't want to be too fast in here. That's about it downwind. Alright. Low power setting. I keep this altitude. This looks pretty nice and happy, to be honest. And we're gonna be landing there. Right, we're in the wide arc at the end of the runway. So we will go speed checked, flaps 1. A little bit more power. Start a slight gentle descent, but not too much because we're already quite low. Make that a steep based turn here. Not too steep because we're slow. And you increase your oh, it was too much. So So we are gonna go in here, go flaps full to slow it down right up. See, is that flaps full? Yep. And coming in on this runway, slightly dogleg, but we are in the bush, so let's just go with it. We are very stable now. And let's cut the power and glide it nicely in. Alright, we're on the ground. Full back pressure on the stick to keep our wheels on the ground and then brake. And we are stopped. We are here. And let's see what it says. Is it the right airport? Obviously, we did check. And we took almost an hour to get here. Alright. See, next leg to Mina. Or Mina. It is much shorter. It's about 5 minutes. 8 miles. Let's get going. See, Basalt Junction. First, this out of the way. When you're in the air again, head northeast along Nevada's, or I'm not sure anymore, it's Nevada or Nevada. Route 6, anyway, toward and through Montgomery Pass. Continue along the desolate mountain road a few miles until you reach a junction with Nevada State Route 360 at the former town of Basalt. Okay. Let's do that. That is gonna be 11 minutes, 39... It's 5 minutes 19 here. How come it's set? Oh, it's 21 minutes en route. I don't know what it's set about 5 minutes, the earlier thing. It's gonna be 21 minutes en route. Anyway, we're gonna fly this. And we're gonna take off 5 minutes straight out to the north. Northeast. Correction. Following the road. Right. On the brakes. Some power in. Okay, a little bit of back pressure on the stick to keep the nose wheel on the ground. Power in. Raise that nose wheel. Keep it straight down the runway. And there is a rotation speed. Rotate. Alright, we have to get these. We have to remember to get these lights on. Because it always switches them off before we take off again. And we are nicely airborne. Let's start our timer. Let's stay nice and low on this leg until we get through this mountain pass. We'll have to climb anyway, but let's do a bit of zigzagging around this roadway. We don't lose track of it. Is that water up there? This is road, right? Does the road go somewhere? That's water. Where does the road go? It's next to the water, right? Where does the water go? It just stops there. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, 5 minutes following the road through the pass up to State Route 360, the former town of Basalt. Actually, I think it's a mineral that they dig up. Probably named after that because the state here has a rich mining history. And there's some water. There's a aqueduct next to the road. 037, that's about the heading that we were taking before. So that does look like it's correct, which is great. We don't have to follow the dirt road down to whatever that is. Small town, a small small ranch. It's not a town, it's one house. And the road goes up there. I'm gonna be following it because I don't want to lose track of it by trying to take shortcuts. Let's see. Is that water as well? Oh, that's where the water comes from. It's not an aqueduct, it's a river then, or what? Strange. Because that doesn't look like it's man-made. That looks like it's regular flow, but the other thing was dead straight. And there's the road that we're following. We're climbing a bit because the terrain around us is climbing as well. So we want to keep at least some clearance. We don't want to go crashing into the mountain. Don't know how quickly this airplane can climb in case we do need to go up very quickly, but I don't want to find out until we absolutely have to. Alright, so through the pass, continue along the desolate mountain road a few miles until you reach the junction with Nevada State Route 360. So we're gonna be tracking a different route for the rest, I think, which is a good thing considering we've been following this one for a very long time already. So we've been flying in California, we are currently in Nevada. Or Nevada. I don't know what they liked it. I heard some YouTubers having some issues with pronouncing it the wrong way, so I hope I don't offend anyone by my pronunciations. However, I just don't remember which one of the ones was wrong. What's this button? Avionics. I want them on. Alright, desolate desert. This actually looks pretty interesting terrain. I don't want to get stuck down here. There's quite some mountains, it's not just a flat desert. I have the road down there. And we can start a slight descent back down because we crossed the pass and we don't want to stay too high, because I'm guessing a former town of basalt is not gonna be very big. It's gonna be pretty hard to spot from high up. Oh, sorry about that. Pretty interesting terrain here. It looks like something of a quarry, maybe? A mine? Some relief in the desert. Let's take an outside view. Our airplane kinda sounds like a lawnmower, to be honest. And we're also not going too fast. So is there something wrong with this airplane? This fuel thing is... Oh, what the hell is going on here? Alright, that's not good. I don't know what happened there. Suddenly we pitched down awfully. I wasn't looking for a second and we pitched down so much that I actually had to trim back up all the way because my full backstick wasn't doing enough. What is going on here? And let's just keep following the road, gain a bit of altitude, just for safety. I don't care that I might not see it properly. Oh. Or is this the intersection that they were talking about? It's the outside view. I just don't want to be in here for long. I just have to do a quick cross check. But it's 11 Basalt Junction, 5 minutes away. Should be there already. Alright, let's get into our cockpit. And slow it down, get to hold, and do a quick couple of 360s to analyze, can't speak anymore, to analyze what's going on here. So what we did here was a big turn to the right, just there. Doesn't really happen. So did we miss the town? There. I think we missed the town because there is no town. We're gonna go head northeast. The former town of Basalt. Could it be this road here? See, timing wise that does make sense. We were running along, so let's follow along here and then see what heading we end up once we get there. It's northwest. Northeast would be that way. I'm lost. Spent too much time talking about stuff. Let's see. We will continue to orbit until we find out what's going on here. Let's take a look. What happened here? We took off at the airport, followed through down the pass, follow the road. There's no 90-degree left turn until it's this one, which it could be, actually, to be honest. There, the lake. Yeah, we are gonna be going that way, slightly. Okay, let's try this. Reset this timer. Go this way and see if we end up where we need to end up. Because I am not going to be using the back on track feature. I don't care if we get lost, we will find our way again. I'm sure of it. Did it again, eh? The annoying screen stuff. Anyways. Road. Down there. I think that is what we're doing now. Where are we going to land? (3Q0). That is this. So that's completely the next leg already. I made a big mistake again. Wait a second. Were we just not at the town of Basalt yet? Should I have just continued straight? I'm not sure. We're completely and utterly messing up here. Let's head back to this point where we were. Basalt Junction. Continue along the desolate mountain road for a few miles until you reach a junction with Nevada State Route 360, the former town of Basalt. So we took off there. We went through the mountain pass, which was there. A little valley. And another mountain pass, which is probably this one. And then we continue with a slight bend, still heading northeast. Is there a town here? I don't see a village. I don't see a junction. Can backtrack our route. See if we missed anything. Until we get back to the pass. And then... yeah, let's do that. It's only a couple of miles. It's not really clear. And how am I supposed to know what road to take in case we find it? That's a quarry. It looks like a quarry. See if you can see a town in the distance here. Not really. It's also completely different direction. Riverbed. It got a bit more interesting, I guess. Because it's difficult. If there's nothing really indicating where we are. Alright, so I am pretty sure that in saying this is the second ridge line of hill, I'm not making a mistake. But we continued along the desert mountain to reach a junction with the state route. There's a town here that I missed. But is there a state route? Don't see any. No, not really. No state routes. And that's the road with the water that we follow. So we might not have gone this far yet to be there. Big mountain pass, road, up the little mountain pass, which makes sense. Big picture view. Means that we are about here now. If that makes sense, that's a northeasterly, more northerly direction. Get us aligned quickly. Take a look. Northeasterly direction, which is what we are looking at. So we're here. And we cross the mountains. See if you can see from the outside view. So there's a town there. But I don't see a second road. Alright, let's look outside view a bit. Might be, some might consider this cheating. I don't, because I'm lost. That's what we did. We wind it through here. We are here now somewhere. Going this way. Along these little outliers of that mountain group. Don't stall this airplane because I can't really see altitude now. We are going northeasterly still. Old Town intersection, a junction with Nevada State Route 360. That must have been this. Oh, that's the junction. What else could it be? I don't know. And then we follow the route that way. Let's stick with that. I don't really see any other way that this might be resolved. If we continue straight, the road is gonna go completely east, and it never does. So let's give it that turn that once. Reset our timer now because we restart this leg. It's a bit too easterly, but we did turn a bit more westerly than expected as well, so let's just stick with this then. Alright. Head northeast, which this for sure isn't. Moho Mountain. Moho Mountain. Past the impossible. The hills of Mineral County. It's hills. This is hills. This is northwest. This is north. Now we're heading northwest again. Might be at the road, but it does show a northwesterly trend. It's never really northeast anymore. So we pass through there. Some mountains to the right. Might be Moho Mountain. But it's 11 minutes, so it's quite some time, and we're slowing down as well. I can't really see the road anymore, so let's descend back towards it. There it is. Don't want to accelerate too much. Veterans Memorial Highway 95 near the dried up roads. Salt Marsh. Want another highway junction. This is really difficult since they don't write on these highways, which they are to see from the sky. You can only see it on signs. And I don't think they load here. So let's cut the power, get down low, because I don't want to miss another road. It's gonna be a lot easier if you descend and do everything from a very, very low altitude. I hope. So I'm kind of northwest. But we're gonna be turning northeast, so I'm having a good feeling about this. This makes sense. We're doing the right direction, in my opinion. Although I think we should consider making a lot of cross checks with whatever they say. Every word that's written here is very valuable now. And these timings as well. 015 is gonna be the average heading. 015. Three minutes 40 seconds in. I think let's do a quick compass check here. Yeah, this is definitely northeast again. So this should be what we are doing now. The big mountain off to the right. So it's quite some time still, so not really. And that's gonna be the airport that we're going to already. Strange leg here. Nice and low, nice and steady. And not too fast. Alright, Veterans Memorial Highway 95 and Dried Up Roads, Schald Marsh. So it's gonna be something very white in color, I think. That's what we're looking at. Something very white in color near a road junction. Gonna give it some offset here that we can actually see the road, not miss any junctions, keep a close eye on this. But the junction is gonna be only in about 5 minutes still. 6 minutes even. So I'm not expecting that anytime soon. However, our mean heading is going to be pretty accurate, I think. We are tracking about 015. We're going to go a bit further eastbound, and we were very much further westbound earlier, so I guess this kind of makes sense. Big hill that they're talking about. Probably that. Could be that, but I don't think so. I'm saying big hill. They mentioned it's called a mountain, so Moho Mountain. Not really a big hill then. Right, following this road, making that eastward turn. So guys, it can even happen to me. I can even get lost a little. So never let it discourage you, and one thing that's always good for a pilot is to never give up and never stop trying to find a solution. I could have cheated, looked at the map to check where I was, but I don't want to do that because I'm simulating that I don't have that stuff. I'm simulating that I have to look at my outside picture and timings only, and might as well not do this thing if I'm not gonna do this properly. Is that some trees? Some trees in the middle of the desert. The sim is being a bit strange, planting trees in the middle of the desert here. But I'm guessing they should be there if they are simulated, because nothing is anywhere else. Might be a backstory to those trees, why those are there. I don't know. Anyways, accelerating it a little bit, staying nice and low this time, gives me a much better close-up view. 7 minutes 20 seconds in of our 11-minute 39-second leg. So we are a little bit more eastbound than I would say. So 040 almost, 038 I think. It's a more accurate reading. And we're going to be turning more westbound quickly as well. So I think this is what they would call the hills of Mineral County, Nevada. Yeah, that does look like some hills. And highway junction in about 4 minutes. Alright, let's reconfirm that everything here is fine. Overall, we're heading northeast. During the turn, we can't really... I clicked there accidentally. During the turn, we can't really use our compass. As you can see, we are rolled out and it's still turning. It's resetting itself. Because you have turning errors in these actual compasses. And during the next turn, I can show you. So we are flying straight and level now. Compass is not turning, so that means that it's actually what we're flying. About 330 there. We're going to turn to the right. Through north. I can show you what's gonna happen. So we're making it a smooth turn once we get a little bit more aligned with this next leg here. Alright. A right turn. It immediately starts to do a bit, but then it stops again. So it's not turning at all. Even though we are turning. And then we roll wings level. All of a sudden it moves a lot. And even when we're wings level, it's just adjusting itself ever so slightly. So what's happening is you have to turn farther than you think you... no, it's the opposite. You have to turn less on your compass than what you would expect to. Because when I had to roll out, I wasn't nowhere close to 010, which is our heading now. So you have to turn, it will underread in the turn through the north. And that's one of the properties of this type of compass. When you're facing south, it's gonna be the opposite. If you're doing a 360-degree turn, you can clearly see sometimes it goes faster, sometimes it goes a lot slower. It's all stuff that you learn when you go through grad school. I'm sure that it's included in the ATPL syllabus. I'm not sure about the PPL, but I think that's something they would teach you as well, because these kind of instruments, they are still very much there in the general aviation community. As you can see, this is a GA aircraft and it has a standard magnetic compass. Alright, we are 11 minutes in. Should be almost there. Carefully looking. This is what I would think is that salt flat that we're talking about. That salt marsh. There should be a junction. Let's not make the same mistake again, so let's not talk too much about other stuff. Alright, keep a close eye on this road. Alright, nicely lined up with this road. And we're gonna follow the highway north. So north is gonna be we're heading northeast now. So north is gonna be a left turn. Relatively short distance. And we'll see this town of Mina on the horizon, or Mina. And I think it's gonna be there. To the east stands an unassuming public use airport, which is our next stop on the bush trip adventure. So it's gonna be on the right side of the road. Let's get down a bit more. Is this a junction that we're talking about? Oh, yes it is. And we're gonna head north. This is a much easier junction because our road stops and you have to turn anyway, whilst the other one was the beginning of this road, the State Route 360. Yeah, actually we know that we have to do something here. Makes it a lot easier. Knowing that, we do have to turn in the right direction. We are heading 050 now, so it's gonna be left turn northbound. And looks like part of the road continues like that in a big triangle, so we can start making that turn already. They won't blame us for cutting the corner. Got some bigger mountains off to our right now. Okay, let's reset our timer. Go in. Close this one out, Tonopah Junction. So this is Tonopah Junction. There's also a Tonopah in Arizona where I flew, but that's not this one. But I do recognize the name. It's also an American Truck Simulator, I think. And then follow on Highway 95 north for a relatively short distance, and you'll soon see, it's actually 4 minutes only, the small town of Mina appear on the horizon. Is it there? Could be there. To the east stands an unassuming public use airport, the next stop on your bush trip adventure. Right, I think that's the runway. It's really an unassuming airport. Doesn't even have a very clean runway. Alright. Looking pretty steady here. A minute in of our 4-minute trek down to the airport. And we're looking for it on our side of the road, so straight ahead. There's something there, though I'm not sure that that is gonna be the airport. Might be something. Imagine what these truckers would think if they were real people. If they saw this bright yellow bush plane flying overhead. Guy must be crazy going out in the desert like this. Now mind you, I'm sure they have a good reason to be out here. And sure we do. Our reason is that we are enjoying some bush flying, some basic VFR, back to basics flying, leaving all that fancy electronics behind. And you can join me on this trip that we are taking. Talking about that, I hope you enjoy. Leave any recommendations in the comments, and I promise you I'll be watching those to see if anyone has any advice or any notes on what I'm doing here. Anyways, we're 2.5 minutes in of our 4-minute trek towards the airport. So this might be the town, since for sure the airport isn't here yet. But I think the actual town is there. The runway runs parallel, so we're gonna go widen out a little from that road to try to get us established for a landing pattern. Runway looks in a bad shape, so I suggest we take a low pass over the runway and see from where we can land. I think that's the threshold, as you can see here. But I think we would rather land from there and not start in the beginning where all the sand and dirt is. Let's close this out and make that our turn. So we will go Mina traffic. Our call sign I can't remember. Are gonna go for low approach. Our final runway. I don't even know. I don't know why I'm making the call. There isn't any radios anyway. But we're gonna be trying to make this a low approach. Slow it down, because we're rather traveling at a high rate of speed here. Alright, that's for sure the runway. There is flap speed, so flaps first stage, and we'll leave it at that. The airplane settle down, but not on the runway. We'll make a low pass first to assess the quality of the runway. It's a bit overgrown. That's for sure. Let's see what the windsock reads as well. But I don't see any obstacles on here. Winds are slightly across, but if anything, they're favoring the other side. So let's land in the other direction. Make that a 180 at the end of the runway. We're not gonna make it any more complicated. Right, let's climb it up. Maybe leave our landing flaps in. Yeah, it's not landing flaps, our approach flaps in. We're a little fast for those, but that's fine. Let's make that a 90-degree turn to the left, and then a 270 to the right. Overhead the town now. Can you see? There's the runway, and then a 270 to the right to make a turn onto a final for the runway. So what I did there is I saw the windsock and I decided that landing from this side is going to be more favorable. Okay, we oversped our flaps a little, which is definitely a bad thing. But it's fine. Get a bit of power to reduce our sink rate. Get on that runway center line. Try to land in the beginning here. This looks like it's more structural. Looking at the edge for the flare. Giving a bit of power to keep that flare nicely going. Landed with the stall warner. And then gently pressing the brakes. Full back pressure now to stop and keep pressure on the nose. Right, we landed at the runway. We are here. The leg is completed. We took a lot longer because we had to do a lot of circling halfway there. However, I think we can do one more. Let's say one more is gonna be possible. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Let's take off. So, Luning. From Mina Airport, you'll take off, head northwest, traveling a short distance to reach Lunning, or Luning. Another small town on a bend in the road. And then it's Hawthorne Airport already. So it's really not a long leg, except for that one is 15 minutes long. And that is actually a big airport where we can probably land and call it a day maybe once we get there. It depends on how long this one will take. So we'll take off, and 319er is the heading that we're gonna look for. We're heading 150, so we're heading in the southerly direction. Take off, make a left traffic pattern out, and start our leg following the road. Alright. Sounds like a plan. Alright, let's go. Get some power in. Release the brakes. Keep about half stick back. Full power is set. Get that nose lowered. And that's enough speed to get airborne. Trim it nicely for flight. And verify that our flaps are up. Then make that left turn outbound already. Because I don't want to be wasting any more time than I have to. There's no one here in the traffic pattern, so they won't mind us doing so. It's called an early turn. And we're gonna make it a continuous turn onto downwind. Climbing up, but not too much. Let's maybe even level off here. And there is the road that we are gonna follow down off Mina. And then we're gonna... Oh, got the power immediately because we're definitely faster than we should be. Start our timer. Let's see if it actually works. Okay, it works. And we shall continue our leg onwards. Luning is gonna be the first waypoint or point of interest. And we can also already try to spot it on the horizon. Let's take a look on our VFR chart. And then a bend. It's gonna be that bend. Alright. So we did end up making the right call on our previous leg there. I'm really happy we did. because we would have had some issues if we didn't find our airport at the end. Anyways, we're about a minute in on the third and most likely final leg of today's stream. I hope everybody is enjoying it as much as I am. If you are watching the video, I don't mind you skipping ahead to the landing, or if you have done that before, I don't mind. It's perfectly fine because en route not much is gonna happen. However, might be interesting to watch me look for recognizable points and actually see what is the route that we're going to be flying. And as you can see, if you don't skip ahead, then you might be able to see some stuff like what happened before where I got lost. But I'm gonna try not to get lost anymore. Let's keep it at that. Alright, we are 2 minutes in of our 5-minute leg towards the first waypoint. And then from there, the airport is gonna be there already in 15 minutes. So, thus begins a relatively long haul west, following Highway 95 to Hawthorne, Nevada, the seat of Mineral County. Hawthorne calls itself America's patriotic home, complete with the world's largest army ammunition depot. But it's also home to a municipal airport where you land and complete this leg of your journey. Right. Patriotic. A lot of military guys. I think that you don't want to mess with them and get into their airspace or fly over these ammunition depots. Depot. Is it depot? I'm not sure. Struggling with pronunciation. Alright, that is the town of Luning or Lunning. Another one that I can't pronounce. And we're gonna make that turn. The bend in the road is there. Long haul west, 15 minutes, 21.5 nautical miles. And it's gonna be just following the road again, so nothing much can go wrong. Famous last words. Anyways, I'm gonna think of some stuff to talk about. Well, I've been thinking, and instead of talking too much, I might be doing some maneuvering of the airplane. See if we can get some interesting maneuvers going on. First, we're gonna go slow flight. Once we get this turn going, might be worth slowing the airplane down and talking about what happens when you start flying slowly. This is all applicable to a real airplane as well. However, I'm not trying to teach you how to fly slowly in your airplane. I'm just trying to show you what happens if you do. So this is the town of Lunning. We are 5 minutes in of our 5.5 minute journey, so we're a little fast maybe, but I don't mind since the next leg is going to be long as well. Faster is always better in this case. Except that we're going to be doing some slow flight for a brief moment. Alright. So we're gonna level off at 5,500, so I'm gonna descend a little bit, that we have a reference, then reset the timer, and we're heading towards the airport of Hawthorne, following the road. So we took off here, that's the bend, and Tango Hotel is Hawthorne. Alright, we're gonna be coming in straight there. They have a big airspace. Anyways, we're gonna be doing that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throttle back to completely idle, and then I'm gonna have to increase back pressure in order not to lose any altitude. I'm also gonna have to trim. Then I'm gonna give it a little bit of power there. We're gonna try to stabilize it around 70 knots if possible. So don't want to lose any altitude, so our nose has to keep coming up. When our nose comes up, we need more power because we create more drag. And if we want to maintain altitude, we want to have the same amount of lift. So the reason why we pitch up higher is because in order to maintain level, we need the same amount of lift. If we slow down, our velocity factor reduces the lift we produce, so we need to have a higher angle to get that lift back. So about 70 knots now. This also increases drag, which means that to go slower and not stall, I have to add power. If you take this to the extreme, you will end up on what they call the slow side of the drag curve. So that means that the slower you go, the more power you would need to maintain, which is a rather dangerous spot to be in. Alright, let's now lower one stage of flaps and see what happens. So we lower one stage of flaps. I didn't move the nose, but the nose moved up a bit because we suddenly got a little bit extra lift out of these wings. But the flaps also increase our drag, so that's only short-lived. And in order to maintain, we climbed a bit though, because I didn't correct for it. Let's return back down. Throttle idle for a sec. Descend this little bit of speed. With this speed that we have, descend down to our altitude again, and then resume flight. Overall, what you'll see is the pitch attitude required for 70 knots of flight level is less than when we had without any flaps. And we're gonna go flaps full and demonstrate the same thing. So our nose is lower. We need more power to maintain level. That's 70 knots. So we're flying 70 knots. 70 kilometers per hour. I've been saying this wrong. It's 70 kilometers per hour. It's a lot less than 70 knots, to be honest. 70 kilometers per hour. And I'm used to having airspeed indicators in knots. That's why I'm misreading it. So it's 70 kilometers per hour. And we have a lot lower nose attitude. What I mean is the distance between the horizon and the tip of our cowling there is a lot more than what we had with in a clean configuration. And I'm using more power to maintain our airspeed and altitude here. We even descended a little. And we can actually recover now. So I'm gonna go full power. Make sure we don't climb. And go flaps all the way up. They're up. It's checked. On this side, better view. Right, we don't want to climb, so let's lower that nose, and we have to trim a lot of downward trim now. And I'm gonna go back to a cruise power setting now, because if we leave the power at full, we will be overspeeding the airframe. As I explained in the previous video, the yellow arc you can still fly in, the red arc you can't. So in this yellow arc, that's between normal operating speed and never exceed speed. In the yellow arc you can fly, but you have to be very cautious. It's the cautionary range. You don't have your normal buffers in terms of G loading and general airframe integrity. Alright. Our timing is gonna be completely off, but we can prove that we are still on a good track. If you see There is a huge mountain just behind the village there, the town of Hawthorne. And there's a big mountain and we're flying the road there. I think we're already in what probably would be their airspace. However, since we can't contact anyone, I'm not gonna worry about that. We're just gonna come in for a straight in on the runway because this is a paved runway. I'm not worried about it not being good. We're gonna just come in straight in like this. Just follow the road and we'll have to offset a little. But it's the quickest way to go, unless we see that the winds are completely different than what we would need to go straight in. So airplanes always like to land into the wind. It has to do with the fact that when you're flying your airplane, the ground isn't that important. It's actually the air that you're flying in that matters. So if you're flying the airspeed that you see on this indicator, that's the best way to explain. The airspeed that you can see here is the speed compared to the air that we are in. That's why it's called airspeed. Ground speed is the speed that we have compared to the ground. So if the air mass is moving at 10 kilometers per hour from north to south, and we are flying at 100 kilometers per hour from south to north, so against it, we would only be traveling 90 kilometers per hour against the ground. However, the airplane doesn't know the difference. It thinks it's flying 100 kilometers per hour because the wind, that's the lift is generated by the airflow going over the wings, and it doesn't make any difference in terms of the handling and how it stalls, and you'll still, the speed that you're flying in the air is the speed that the aircraft is reacting to. And I will prove to you that this matters for landing. So you might already know this, and it's very basic what I'm explaining here. But if you're flying at 80 knots, or 80 kilometers per hour, 70 kilometers per hour, because you're about to land, and the wind is blowing 30 kilometers per hour in your tail, over the ground you'll be going 100 or 110 kilometers per hour. And once you touch the ground, your airspeed doesn't matter anymore. The only thing that matters is that you're going 100 kilometers per hour whilst you could be going only 70. And it takes a lot longer to brake and to stop on the runway if you're going that much faster. That's why I want to land into the wind. It gives us more time, gives us more energy for a relatively lower ground speed. That's why you see multiple runways pointed in different directions at airports. Usually they have them built into the wind direction that happens the most, that's the most prevailing. But when there's a lot of variability in the wind, you have multiple runways at different angles. And that's why. Well, if you did know that already, you can let me know in the comments if I made any mistakes or if there is anything else you would like me to add in the next time. If you didn't know me already, I hope you learned something today. And if you didn't know and you thought this was way too complicated of an explanation, let me know, because then I can work on it for the next time. Alright, we can clearly see the big nice lake that was on our chart here. It's a big lake. It's off to our right. We're 9 minutes in of our 15-minute crossing here. See if you can see airport. We're following the road. The road is gonna go ever so slightly there. Aha. And you see some flashing lights in the distance. You know what? Let's point our nose straight there, because we want those flashing lights. What they are called are runway end identifier lights, or rails. If you listen to aerodrome weather, they will call them the rails. And what they do is they are high intensity flashing lights at the threshold of the runway, and they help you find the runway, and they tell you the difference between the runway and the taxiway. And for us it's really useful. We can point us straight towards the airport there. Now, there are also some other lights at the airport. I don't know if any of them are going to be on, since it's daylight. But if we see some of those later on or in Explain, I might give an explanation on those if you want. Another thing you can comment about, if you want some specific stuff to know, don't hesitate to ask me. I am a resource that is currently at your availability, and if you want to take advantage of the stuff I've learned in flight school, you can always ask me if you want. You can do it in many different ways. You can either leave me a comment on one of my videos, leave an Instagram DM. My Instagram handle is in the description. It's @24flying. It's not that difficult. It's just my channel name. You can DM me if you want. I'll try to get back to you with your question or with your comment. And you can also email me if you're still into that. It's contact.24flying. Oh, what's going on? Did our engine just die? Did we lose fuel? Wait a second, let's restart. I think we just lost fuel. Okay. Did we just run out of fuel, or what's going on? Alright, we definitely have an issue there. Alright, we are nicely gliding, and we're gonna use this road to land on. Let's use that because the desert is really not that big of a happy place. Let's go around, let's say 90 knots I think is best glide. Or 90 kilometers per hour, correction. Right, we don't want to slow down too much. And we're gonna continuously try to relight. See, is this igniters on again? Let's try to find that click spot. It's gonna be more difficult than trying to restart the engine, I have a feeling. It's off, but I don't want off. I want on. Okay, I don't think we're gonna get this going again. Alright, never mind. We are going to put it down here. It's gonna be an emergency landing, so you mayday, mayday, mayday. November 24 Foxtrot Lima Yankee suffered an engine failure, landing it on route 95 westbound. Alright, keeping our speed nicely consistent, and we're gonna put it on the road there. Last minute I'm gonna go flaps in order to reduce our rate of descent if possible. Might be not the best idea. No, let's just land flapless. Let's do it. Flapless. Alright, there's the road. Let's land on there. Oh, that was a hard one. But we are on the ground. Oh, we ran out of fuel and we can't continue. Alright. How did we run out of fuel? How is it possible that we ran out of fuel if I can't refuel it anywhere? Alright, this... okay. This has been interesting. I am guessing we'll have to call it a day for today. So we ran out of fuel. in the next episode, I will take you guys along and we'll get there again. However, next up is going to be in Explain some more IFR flying. So do ring that subscribe button and click that notification bell in order to get updated to that. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like. Yeah, we just ran out of fuel, guys. I called it. I couldn't restart it anymore. I don't know why. I'll have to research this, why we actually ran out of fuel. But anyway, thank you. Consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with anyone. This has been 2-4 Flying on our bush trip adventure. We put it down safely on the ground, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.